the Chinese economy as a whole seems to be completely melting down. Many experts had already been pessimistic about the Chinese economy, but now it seems to be melting down from top to bottom at a faster rate. It is said that more than $100 trillion has evaporated, as the market capitalization of Chinese companies listed in the US has decreased by 18%. So compared to 2022, it is said that there has been a decrease of more than $300 trillion. This drop is partly due to geopolitical conflicts and Xi Jinping risks, but overall, it is largely influenced by the negative image that China is currently projecting in the United States.
In this gloomy situation, it is said that Chinese companies listed in the US are being completely destroyed due to the possibility of a collapse of the Chinese economy. In this situation, it is highly likely that whoever becomes president, Trump or Biden, will strangle the Chinese economy with their China trade policy. The United States is said to impose strong tariffs on e-commerce businesses, such as China's Alibaba and Temu, that have entered the US market. Trump is confident that he will impose a 60% tariff to reduce Chinese imports to 1%. He claims that the imposition of a 25% tariff during his first term will reduce exports to China by $160 billion.
Biden also makes the same argument. So, regardless of whether it is Biden or Trump, trade relations with China will inevitably be reduced to the minimum. In this situation, even upper-class Chinese doctors, accountants, and self-employed people are said to be escaping China and entering the United States through illegal immigration in such of a way to survive. The number of Chinese illegal immigration detained while trying to illegally enter the United States to escape the economic crisis has increased tenfold in 1 year, and the majority of them are said to be middle class or higher, not in extreme poverty. It is said that even the middle and upper classes, which serve as the backbone of the Chinese economy, are looking for a way out of the economic crisis. In other words, we can say that the ultra-upper class is attempting to immigrate by legally taking their assets abroad, while the upper middle class is attempting to immigrate illegally. It is said that the number of Chinese illegal immigrants detained by U.S. Immigration and Customs last year alone was 37,000. That number has increased 10 times compared to 2022. The year of publication, the number of illegal immigration from China is still rapidly increasing, and people are said to have to spend $5,000 just to cross the Mexican border. It is said that they spend a huge amount of money, around $5,000, which is more than 1/3 of the average annual income of Chinese office workers, plus airfare and various illegal immigration brokerage organizations' fees to smuggle themselves into the United States. These middle-class people are said to be escaping from China because they cannot survive as their livelihoods have crumbled away due to the collapse of the real estate market, and their economic difficulties have intensified. It is said that middle-class people, such as self-employed factory owners, doctors, accountants, real estate brokers, and office workers, are attempting reckless illegal acts that have resulted in them being arrested while migrating into the United States through Mexico, risking death. This situation is why many say that the collapse of China's middle class is now very serious. It is said that 11.4% of middle class families experienced a 30% decline in income last year, but in reality, it could be much more serious than this. In this situation, Chinese people are told not to buy, eat, or do anything, so they fall into a mire of deflation and survive without spending money at all. These days, many Chinese people say they don't buy a car or even a used car, even if their car breaks down. They haven't bought any clothes for a long time. They are even cutting back on food expenses, and they don't eat meat at all. So, the shadow of China's deflation is getting darker, and it is often said that consumption should be encouraged at times like this, but consumption is decreasing more rapidly, and people are keeping their wallets completely closed. It is said that during the Lunar New Year last January, China's biggest holiday, pork prices fell by -17.3%, and food prices plummeted by at least -12.7%. So in China, even though goods are being sold at significantly lower prices, the consumption patterns that people used to have when their assets increased due to the last real estate bubble have completely disappeared.
As Chinese people experience a decline in their assets due to the coronavirus pandemic and China's real estate financial crisis, they are trying to cut back on spending and survive to the point where they do not starve to death. This trend predicts that China's deflation will become more severe in the future. So, the number of travelers exploded during the Chinese New Year, but it turned out that only cheap trips that did not cost money were made. That's why one-day trips to Hong Kong and products priced around $40 have become popular. Under these circumstances, Chairman Michael Geiger, chairman of the U.S. House of Representatives China Special Committee, is scheduled to visit Taiwan. He is a former intelligence officer dispatched to Iraq who was described as an eagle catching China as prey and has a very strong anti-China stance. So, China's situation is becoming more difficult as time goes on. It has been said that China is entering a stage where no matter what funds it releases to stimulate the economy, it will be ineffective due to the negative sentiments of the Chinese people. Overseas experts are convinced that the Chinese economy will completely melt down, and the Chinese Communist Party will be unable to do anything this year. In this situation, the top leaders should honestly assess China's problems, discuss them in depth through various government organizations, and transparently inform the people. But the lack of such efforts is a truly serious problem for China. However, the Chinese leadership has put great pressure on China's innovative and creative capitalists, such as tech companies, while taking power, citing common prosperity.
The policy of insisting on common prosperity and wealth distribution while squeezing top tech companies is more communist than capitalist. So, when the Chinese leader implements a communist-type policy called common prosperity, it can be said that the Chinese Communist Party is digging its own grave because this factor makes foreign capital reluctant to invest in China. Despite the worsening situation following the U.S. financial crisis in 2008, China has invested enormous amounts of money in real estate and infrastructure for more than 15 years. all of this enormous investment came from shadow banking. So, as long as the capitalist system is adopted, all such capital becomes debt. So, while trying to refinance, a situation arises where they are unable to do so, so large construction companies go bankrupt with hundreds of trillions of dollars in debt.
In these conditions, real estate prices in China are currently in a huge bubble compared to the income of the Chinese people.
Therefore, China's real estate bubbles are bursting in a state from which it may be impossible to recover, while the Chinese Communist Party does not seem to have the ability to recover from this crisis. Many foreign experts say that China's economic crisis is highly likely to lead to a catastrophic situation within the year. Thank you for watching. This is Matilda, and I worked alongside Gina and Tony.